say it burns inside. Oh, love is a thing that burns inside. If you should ever let it pass you by. Oh, love is to cherish and to hold, and never, oh never, never, oh let it go. For rain will never, ever pass you away again. So hold on to love, my friend, and never, never let it go. Oh, love is to be within your heart, and never, oh never, never, oh let it part. For rain will never, ever pass you away again. So hold on to love, my friend, never, never let it go. Oh, love is a thing that burns inside. If you should ever let it pass you by. Oh, love is to be within your heart. And I'll say, baby, never, oh no, never, ever let it part. For rain will never, ever pass you away again. So hold on to love, my friend, and never, never let it go. Oh, love, sweet love. Oh, love, sweet love. Oh, love, sweet love.
The voice of Johnny Braff, and It Burns Inside, that's what it's called. He says, oh love. And remember the theme for our book of quotations is love. Remember that. And so that ties in squarely with that. Hope that you enjoyed it. It's 9 hours 39, and I've got two interesting people in the studio this morning. They're from the Guyana Foundation, which is a non-profit trust that was established in January. And I've got Supriya Singh. I'm sure you'll remember that name. And you know Eric Phillips very, very well. I'd like to say good morning to you, Supriya, and to you, Eric. Welcome to the Wake Up Guyana show.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Well, as protocol dictates, ladies before gents, and that's because Eric just got a display for us.
Yes.
Supriya, has anyone ever told you you have a double on the I think it's either the BBC, it's a news anchor, BBC or CCTV.
Al Jazeera.
Or it's oh, you know.
Someone said
yes, yes, and the person has a name close to yours as well. When I looked at it, you had disappeared for a while, and when I looked at the lady, I said, "This is Supriya." Yes, you know, yeah, she looks very much.
I
like
guarantee you, I'm
yeah.
not moonlighting on Al Jazeera.
Okay, but it does mean that you can fit into that
Yes.
media perspective, you know.
Yes.
Okay, well, yes, the question is, people have been asking, and I had asked at one time too, what has become of Supriya Singh?
Mm-hmm.
What has become of Supriya Singh?
Okay. I am still very much here, and thanks to God that I am here. A lot has happened, but in a nutshell, I left Guyana, as you know, in 2008 to pursue work overseas. I was very actively involved in politics here, as you know. and after we lost the election, I had a choice of deciding what to do with my business. It was failing because I joined the political party, and I could not make ends meet here with my business, which was interior design. So I had to make a very difficult decision, and that was to remove myself from Guyana to pursue work overseas, and that I did. But things have a way of happening which perhaps is meant to be. I traveled overseas to work, completed many projects, etc. Saddened that I had to leave my country and the causes that I was so actively involved in. But when I went abroad, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And out of that, I ended up having to go through very extensive surgery and chemotherapy and all of the trauma that goes through with breast cancer. And I mention this because every opportunity I get to speak about it, I do, simply because I feel that women have to take note of their breast health. And if my speaking about it can make them go and do a mammogram or a self-test or whatever, I would say go and do it, because I was perfectly healthy and didn't know anything was wrong with me, and I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So perhaps my exiting Guyana, even though it saddened me terribly, was a good thing, because I was able to get medical help, etc. And out of that negative experience of that whole illness, something good has come out of that. And I think when I faced that terrible diagnosis, the thing that bothered me the most is that I was never able to make the contribution to my country that I wanted to make a difference in people's lives. And so I returned home, and that is how we started the Guyana Foundation.
Well, that's an interesting preamble, but first I must say I'm very sorry to hear about the breast cancer situation. But what is good about it, in my opinion, is that you seem to have handled it pretty well. The first thing, you don't look like someone who has undergone chemotherapy. And you said that everything was all nice and dandy. You didn't know, until it was discovered. And so I'm happy too that you've taken the opportunity to warn ladies out there about what can happen to them and what they need to do.
Yes.
All right, and our prayers are going to be with you, definitely.
Thank you very much. I have been. They have said to me, you're cancer free and you can go about your life. And I remember when I did the chemotherapy and all of my hair fell off and everything else that goes with chemotherapy.
Beautiful hair, it's back.
The doctor said to me, "You're handling this very well. You're not reacting to chemotherapy as a lot of patients do. They're totally wiped out." And he said, "What is it you're eating?" And I didn't know how to tell this guy that I was eating salt fish and balanje and all these Guyanese things. But I think my Guyanese diet helped me tremendously, because I stuck to very pure Guyanese, simply prepared, and I weathered the storm of the chemotherapy.
Yeah, you said you took a difficult decision to leave Guyana at that time, but we recognize now that sometimes difficult decisions do turn into positive things.
Yes.
Because here now you've got this positive foundation,
Yes.
which I'd like you to tell me a little bit more.
Okay.
Tell me about it, and then we'll go to Eric, who's going to throw in his bit too, and then he's got something interesting to show us.
Yes.
So tell us about.
So
the
as soon as
foundation.
I was given the green light that I could travel after my therapy, and I came back to Guyana, and I sought out my good friends. I went to Stanley Ming, Eric. These are people that I have, as you know, spent many, many years around.
Nice people too, I know that.
Nice people, yes. So I said to them, what is the situation in Guyana? And the usual, all of the problems we had still going on from when I left. Many of them are still here. And I said, look, I don't have the luxury of waiting for a political solution to the problems of Guyana. I feel that we need to move now, and we need to do whatever it is we can do at the level of the community to assist and throw in our lot. And at least it would be better to try than to do nothing at all.
That's right.
And so they jumped on a plane and came to the Cayman Islands, and that is where I live. And we spent, along with Miss Nadia Segar, who's an attorney and also a trustee, we spent days locked in a room to come up with what would become the guiding principles of the Guyana Foundation. And we came up with a mission statement, which I want to read for you. And it says, to release the power of people globally, to assist Guyanese to transform their communities, bring fulfillment and well-being to their families, enabling them to build relations of trust and friendship among themselves, irrespective of race and beliefs. And that is at the heart of what we're trying to do. We are not associated with any political party. We are proposing that in everything we do with this foundation, it is for all Guyana. And we have, since we have formed it, most of our fundraising is done overseas. And the response that we have had so far from families and companies and trust funds and so on to assist Guyanese and to assist Guyana, a place some of them have never heard of, have never been, is overwhelming. So we're using all of our collective talents, and each of us have our own strengths to make this foundation work.
Yeah, well, the statement there says it's a wide undertaking, actually, and you've only been in its existence from January, which is just a few months back.
Yes.
I don't expect you to get it to the apexes yet, but tell me, how has it been doing in terms of the feedback and everything?
Yes. Well, actually, more than feedback, what we did was, when we formed this organization, we did not want to people it with a lot of famous faces and have a big fancy press conference and all of this thing. We wanted to get on the ground and start doing the work to show that we are serious, and that we basically, doing these media interviews is really, we didn't even anticipate that we would be doing this, because we didn't really want publicity about the organization. We felt we could just get on and do the work. So in January, we started immediately with the first donation we got, which was $10,000 US, to assist the community of Santa Rosa, where we went and visited that area and found 595 students with no drinking water whatsoever. The trough that they were supposed to be drinking out of was so putrid that you wouldn't even put a horse to that trough. And on top of that, we found out they had no sanitary facilities whatsoever. So we handed over the $10,000 US to the community and asked them to go about doing that project. So we've actually, that project
it's finished.
It's finished. And this, as the pictures that you see on your screen, is where you had the trough with the tanks. I mean, I would not want my dog to go and drink there. And
I can see what you're talking about.
Yes. So we immediately went about that, and they have since started that project, and I believe they're nearing completion. That's us handing over the check to the community, and they were very, very grateful for that. In that community of Santa Rosa, we also found there's a dormitory where a lot of students come from all sorts of villages across the way and can't commute every day. So they live in these dormitories that are very basic. And another family in the Cayman Islands, the Thompson family, they agreed to give us bedding, curtains, bedding, hampers, so the girls could have some sort of privacy and put their things in a hamper, as opposed to hanging it on a string, you know, in very crude circumstances. So in Santa Rosa, those projects are ongoing, and we are very busy with that. 2 days ago, we just distributed in Breezy Point, which is outside of Buxton, 25 of the Gift of Light, which is at the top of our agenda for the goals of the Guyana Foundation. Eric is sitting here next to me, and I'd like Eric to take just a minute to go through what the Gift of Light is, so that your viewers could understand a little bit more about it.
Right. So we're going to hand you over to Eric, and I remember you saying earlier in the statement that that you're trying not to have too many popular faces. I don't know how you ended up with Eric.
Because he's a loyal soul, and his heart is true, and he loves his country and his people.
Well, we know that for sure, the contributions he's been making.
Yes,
yes.
Thanks. This is the Gift of Light, which is designed for folks without any electricity. It was initially designed in Africa, where school children will take this home at night. This is put on the roof, solar panel. So they take it home at night where there's no light, and they can read, and their parents can do other things. Then they bring it back next day to get it recharged, and this way we have perfect attendance. But it's very small, and let's give this to Supriya.
And very handy too.
Yes, it has 3 different levels of light, depending on what you want to do with it. It is waterproof. I can drop it, it wouldn't break. This will last for 12 years, and we're donating it free to those who don't have any light. It's very simple to install. This is all it is. There are 1 bulb, 2 bulb, and 3 bulb lights systems. We're doing 49 families in Buxton where there's no light, no water. They have to cross a 135-foot trench. Now, if they're going to the outdoor latrine, they can put it on and walk with it. Or you can move it from room to room. If you have a dark street and you want your kids to go up the street, you can just
Take it with you.
Right.
And there's no heat generated.
no heat generated,
No heat generation.
so you can't get any burns. And as I said, you can throw it, but we don't want you to do that.
Yeah.
And you don't have to
Might
do
hit face
anything
something.
with this for 12 years. And then we
For
just
12
change,
years?
Yes,
then we
it's
just
good enough for
change
12
the
years.
electronics, and it's good for another 12 years. By then, it might be 50 years because of modern electronics.
And there's no battery either.
No.
Well, the battery
See,
is
but
built into the
it's
actual
built into here.
this
Right.
area, so it's charged.
Right.
Because when it comes from the solar panel to this diverter, then it's charged up and can hang like a normal light from the ceiling.
Okay.
But you can then dislodge it from its holder and take it about with you.
Okay.
So that's how it works. It's a very simple thing, and it comes in a briefcase sort of box, which we didn't bring because it's so cumbersome to bring so much stuff on your show. But nonetheless,
Yeah. This
very
is just
easy,
one
easy.
of many aspects of
Absolutely.
Yeah, what we're doing,
Yes.
we're working with other foundations to bring help to Guyana. We have lots of networks, Supriya, myself, Stanley, all over the world. And as Supriya is saying, when we talk to people about helping Guyana, because they trust us, they're willing to work with us. And so it's now for us to work with communities, and we've done about 9 projects so far.
We've only been in existence for 6 months, but we have 9 projects on the go. And in the Gift of Light, we did it in such a way when we were brainstorming how we would go about our work, setting it up in 2 phases. So there's phase 1 and phase 2. In phase 1, we have the Gift of Light, which we've already started to distribute across in certain communities. And there are more kits en route to Guyana, which we will be giving out to communities. We're working on youth empowerment, doing workshops, bringing skilled personnel from overseas and also we're inviting local people who would like to participate to hold workshops across the country where we can teach our youth certain skills. It could be photography, it could be dancing, it could be video editing, it could be so many things. We did the first thing we kick-started this program with was an event planning seminar where we thought we would have 125 people. We had 300. And we hired a hall and we taught them the basics of event planning, and then we shipped in all of the props to Guyana. And what happened was the students were able after to break into workshops and to do their own projects, etc. It went very well, and the response since then has been, can we have some more in other regions?
Well, if this is only 6 months and you've been able to cover all of this, I can imagine what the organization is going to do in the future. And I'm happy to hear about this because I know that our young people or Guyanese generally stand to benefit from your services.
Yes.
But the question here is, I mean, it's Supriya Singh, it's Eric Phillips.
Yes.
And we know in Guyana that we have a way of twisting issues
Yes.
for political purposes.
Yes. Yes.
And because you guys have been known to dabble in
Yes.
politics, now it's something totally different. Do you think it's going to be there's going to be any difficulty in you really guaranteeing one, and making people absolutely certain that this really has nothing to do with politics? And have you any fear about political intervention on the negative side? Because some people may want to think that this is one way of, getting yourself, weaving yourself in again through the back door and all of that. People think like that, all right? And I'm sure that you would have thought about that
Yes.
before you got into your activities. How are you dealing with that situation?
Basil,
Or is that a problem?
Yeah, no, I can't speak for all of my colleagues, but what I can say to you is if someone tells you that your lights might go out and you may not live and you don't know where you stand, a lot of things change in your life and the way you look at things. And my energy that you see exhibited in the work of this foundation is pretty unstoppable. My ambitions, and I think I speak for all of my colleagues, is that we got into the political arena initially because we wanted to see Guyana move forward, one step forward. We can no longer sweep the problems of Guyana under the carpet. It makes a lot of people very uncomfortable that we show on our Facebook page poverty in the sense that we're showing it. But we as a nation, we need to move forward and acknowledge that we have these problems, and we need to exhibit that we are becoming or making efforts to become a healthy nation. Now, the foundation, none of us have the luxury. I certainly don't know what will happen with my health if I'll still be around. Many of my colleagues would not want to even touch politics with a barge pole in this country. So we have absolutely no political agenda whatsoever. We don't want any media attention. We would like to be able to continue our work. If the authorities become spiteful and feel that we are encroaching on turf or territory or whatever, then so be it. But we will continue to try to work through those obstacles to continue the work we're doing, because we think that organizations like this, I'm hoping that many more organizations like this are formed, because at the crux of this all, we've been completely consumed for so many years with this political feuding, and we are now covered in a thick ash from this political feuding. And at the bottom of it is a set of people who are really suffering in this country. And so I feel that organizations like ours, if we can lend a hand at that level to try to raise hope and the confidence of the people to help themselves, this can't be a wrong thing to do. And so I'm hoping that our politicians, I came to Guyana and the very first thing I did was meet with the president. And I gave him a copy of our brochure and I told him that I would look forward to his support in the work of the Guyana Foundation. I then went to the offices of the opposition and met with David Granger and Rupert Roopnarine, and I explained to them what the Guyana Foundation is about. We are not attempting to encroach on anyone's territory, nor are we trying to become presidential candidates or any of those things. In total opposition to that, we have our lives to live, and we have very busy lives, all of us. If any member of the Guyana Foundation wishes to pursue any kind of political agenda, our constitution is written in such a way that they have to resign. Okay. And they have to go about and do that separate and apart from the foundation. So our constitution is very clear on that, you see. So Basil, we understood clearly, but you know that if we appeared on the scene in Guyana, Eric Phillips, Stanley Ming, and Supriya Singh, everybody would say, "Oh, this is some political." What? You know, truthfully, if we have talents that we can bring to the table in the form in which we're doing so now, this country is in such a desperate situation that I think it needs as much help as it can get. And we're willing to put our 2 cents in the basket.
You can see from our projects, Santa Rosa, there are about 7,000 Amerindians there. Pigeon Island, predominantly 29 shacks, no water, no electricity, a lot of disease, a lot of social problems, predominantly Indian. Buxton, the Gift of Light, predominantly African. We don't really care who you are once you're Guyanese and you need help. And of course people will have suspicions because they see us active and they know that whatever we set out to do, we'll accomplish. That we'll guarantee. If we promise to do something to the community, we will. Pigeon Island has been promised a bridge, they've been promised water for 10 years. We've been able to build that bridge, and by working through the process, we've been able to get permission from GWI to bring water to them. Some people have been living there for 31 years without water. So we're going to work through our networks. We've been helped. We need our duty-free status. We've been going through that process because Supriya has a ton of stuff waiting to ship in here that we can't. We don't want it to come and be blocked on the wharf. But we've gone through the process and we've not been given any resistance.
No, I think that both the opposition and the government have been very supportive of what we're doing. I must say that.
That's
They've
a good
both
thing to
very,
understand.
very, and the thing is, the foundation wants to see unity among our politicians and our people. This is the only way for Guyana to go forward. And we are very heartened by the response we got both from the government and the opposition. And we will continue to do the work we're doing with as much vim and vigor as we can muster among the four of us.
Supriya and Eric, you have sold this organization excellently. That is the Guyana Foundation. And you were listening to the founder, Supriya, and a founder member trustee is Eric Phillips. And I'm sure that, you got a clear picture out there about what the organization is, but I'd like to say to both of you, I know that you'll be moving from issue to issue, from strength to strength. Whenever you have something new or a different perspective or whatever to share with the public, you can do so.
We really appreciate that, Basil. We really appreciate
talk
that.
about it. Because time has run out on us, and but I think both of you have done more than enough for the foundation.
But
and I
please
wanna
let them
thank
check us out on Facebook, because we have a very active Facebook page,
Yes.
Guyana Foundation.
you. Okay. Anything finally, Eric?
Thank you for your time. We're here to help Guyanese of all races, of all religions, and we plan to succeed.
Thank you very much. Supriya Singh, Eric Phillips, thank you indeed for coming down and spending some time with us and giving us information on the Guyana Foundation. And certainly it's a foundation that sounds like it's going to be around for a long time, so we'll continue to let you know about it. All right? Time has run out on us, so we've got to take the second break, so please stay with us. Don't go away.